Yeah, I completely agree. Today we're actually going to talk about some underrated sides, not so much players, because we wanted to take a look at La Liga, because La Liga is seriously topsy-turvy right now. The big clubs are underperforming, or at least Real Madrid and Barcelona are underperforming. And top of the table, we've got Real Sociedad, followed by Unai Emery's Villarreal. Oh my goodness me.
Panic.
And then Atletico Madrid in third. And to me, yes, they're not top at the moment, but Atletico Madrid, I think, might potentially be favourites for the title this season in Spain. Like, Real Sociedad have been amazing so far, but I think we all imagine that Villarreal and Sociedad probably don't quite have the depth of those bigger sides. But Atletico Madrid, at the time of recording, they're a point ahead of Real Madrid with a game in hand. They're 6 points ahead of Barcelona, and more importantly, it's hard to see how Real Madrid and Barcelona are going to make up that points difference. But let's talk about Atletico first. Dougie.
Mm-hmm.
Joe's admitted that he's watched very little of Atletico. Have you watched a little bit more? How are you feeling about them this season? Would you be confident about giving them a decent chance of winning the league?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've stepped up a notch or two at least, particularly in attack. I think we've been calling for Simeone, or at least I had last year, to sort of release the shackles a little bit more, because that sort of style of play that he was sort of pushing left very little room for error. It was only sort of 1-2 goal games in it, and you often end up dropping points if you're only ever going to score upwards of 2 goals. Whereas this year they've already smashed Granada, they've scored 3 or 4 goals on numerous occasions. They've got still the best defence in Europe, but lots of his decisions have really come off in terms of where he's used his players recently as well. Marcos Llorente has completely transformed himself from a kind of middling defensive midfielder at Real Madrid to a really fantastic sort of, he's almost playing as a right winger / number 10 now. And yeah, he's such a great runner. He picks up great positions. His finishing's much improved as well. And then someone who we didn't per se criticise last year in Joao Felix. Maybe we just didn't think he quite lived up to the billing following his I think it was about £110 million in the end, that transfer from Benfica. And he didn't quite light it up. I think it was like 11 goals in 31 games, which isn't too bad considering his age. But this year he's just gone absolutely supernova. I think he's probably playing as the second best or best player in Spain right now, along with Mikel Oyarzabal from Real Sociedad. Mm-hmm. He's so direct. He's never been a fantastic creator, so you shouldn't really expect that much from him on that front. But his finishing's epic right now. So direct, so quick, and linking up really well with Luis Suarez as well. So a lot of Simeone's decisions in attack and how they've restructured their attack in the last couple of years have really, or last 12 months or so, have really paid off. Back from the days of Thomas Lemar, Diego Costa, Vitolo, none of these big money signings previously worked for them. But Joao Felix is definitely earning back that money for Atletico Madrid and really performing superbly at the start of this campaign. And with the deficiencies of Real Madrid and Barcelona, it feels like if they were going to do it, this is definitely the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, it really looks like when you look in the numbers that Felix has just adjusted to the league. I mean, the talent was always there. Shot numbers very consistent, over 3 a game. But last year, 0.8 chances created per 90. This season, 2.2. Last season, 1 dribble completed a game. This season, 3. And more importantly, he's doing the special thing which you only tend to see really elite forwards do, which is that he's just on the ball all the time. Even really, really good forwards don't tend to complete kind of 40 passes a game. Their forwards, it's hard to get the ball into them in that position. But Joao Felix does that. He's just constantly on the ball, constantly passing forward, constantly getting the ball into the penalty area. And Joe, Luis Suarez, I know. We've been talking about his decline in the last few years. And, let's not pretend that he hasn't declined. But, my God, he looks good for Atleti right now.
Yeah, do you know what? It might have just been a little bit of a change of scenery. Because, obviously, there's so many issues behind the scenes at Barcelona that it must wear you down as a player, especially as one of the sort of dressing room leaders, which I'm sure Luis Suarez was in that Barcelona team. To have managers constantly coming through the door, issues off the pitch, issues on the training ground, it must weigh you down to some level. And obviously Suarez, maybe a little fresh scene, slightly obviously different tactics under Diego Simeone, where he's kind of more of a central figure in that attack. Obviously not the same at Barcelona, where Messi is always going to be that central figure. Yeah, it's just allowed him to thrive a little bit more, and I think he's probably the reason that we're seeing such high numbers out of Joao Felix. maybe last season teams had to key in a little bit more on Joao Felix because it's not as much of an issue if you give Diego Costa 4 yards as it is if you get Luis Suarez 4 yards. So yeah, been super impressed by him. I mean, putting up in the league 3.7, 3.8 shots per 90. That's the numbers he was hitting in 15-16 when he hit 40 goals. Now I'm not saying he's going to hit 40 goals. And he's obviously, like you said, been in decline season on season. I think he's gone, just look at his numbers now, 29, 25, 21, 16. But he's already on 5 goals in 5 appearances this season. I can definitely see him getting up between 15 and 20 goals. And for £0 spent, he's got to be one of the best free transfers, one of the best signings flat out this summer. Looks absolutely sensational, totally reinvigorated. I've only watched him play full 90s in the Champions League. Can't say I've watched loads of La Liga, but still looks great in that competition. And he's not 35, 36, where you think, wow, one injury could end him here. With you're 33, he's probably still got 2 years left because he's not, and he never has been, the naturally quickest. He's such an instinct striker, a bully, that I think he's absolutely perfect for this Atletico team.
Yeah, I think that it's a really, really exciting forward line because if you kind of imagine what you would like Felix to turn into, then that kind of peak Suarez is a pretty good candidate for it, right? Somebody who's incredibly creative, who can beat a man, but also who's an excellent goal scorer. I mean, Felix is probably never going to be the physical specimen that Suarez was, where he was just dominating defenders, even in the Premier League, back in 2013-14.
Yeah.
But in terms of the variability of his skill set, he's a really interesting guy for Felix to learn from. And it seems like the rest of the squad's picking up as well. Carrasco hasn't played that much, but when he has been excellent. Correa is putting up the best expected goals and assist numbers of his career, up at about 0.7. And yes, they lost Thomas Partey in the summer, but they've got Kondogbia and Lucas Torreira filling that hole, which is, pretty decent cover. And Jan Oblak, I found
ridiculous.
This. Jan Oblak, Atleti have faced 25 shots on target this season, and Oblak has saved 23 of them. That's 92%. Joe, if I made you bet which side would win the league, and I also want to know where you think Barcelona would finish. Who's going to win the league? Where will Barcelona finish?
I want it to be Sociedad because, like you said, I really love that project. It's picking up some of these young players, even players that are slightly older. Sort of Mikel Marinos and things that they've picked up over the last few years. Just smart purchases that are going to be really super effective. But I think they'll come up short just because there's too much pressure on Oyarzabal. I'm going to stick with Atletico Madrid to win the league. I think the signing of Luis Suarez is what is going to tip them over in terms of output up front, because I just think he'll score more goals and be more heavily involved in Joao Felix's development than Morata and Diego Costa were last season. So I'll go Atletico, but it's going to be very tight. And I think Barcelona could miss out on Champions League football. I genuinely think they could miss out on Champions League football if Messi doesn't. Messi needs to produce a miracle for them to finish up there, in my opinion, because without Ansu Fati, I don't see where the runs come from deep in behind to stretch the play and give Messi that space. So I think Barcelona, I'm going to go 5th, but they'll obviously end up proving me wrong. Messi will score 40 and finish 2nd.
Doogie, can you disagree with Joe at all?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I think my overall winner is still going to be Real Madrid. I still think they can play a lot better than they have at the start of this season, and they're still sort of in the mix at the moment. And yeah, I'd back them to just improve at any point. Plus, I could see them, just like they did post lockdown, they could easily go on a 10 to 15 game winning run with not too many issues. Whereas I don't think Barcelona have that potential this season. I think Atleti could struggle to do that as it stands. So I'm going to go with Real Madrid, even though I am enjoying the real shake-up in La Liga. And where will Barcelona finish? I think they'll finish 3rd still. I still think they'll finish 3rd. They've got so much talent there. And if they can manage to get some of their bigger players performing to a higher standard, particularly in attack, I think they'll be fine.
Interesting. Well, I think... God, I kind of think... I agree with you. There's a lot more that Real Madrid could be getting out of this squad, whereas I think Atleti are probably playing quite close to their limit. But I'm going to go Atleti because I do think that they've built something really good. I think Felix looks amazing. I think that they'll be right up there. So I'm going to say Atleti will win the league. And Barcelona, I suspect they'll sneak into fourth, but I don't see them finishing higher than fourth. I really don't, unless Lionel Messi rediscovers form from about 3 years ago. Like, I just don't see how he could do it. And don't get me wrong, like, I still think he's going to finish on like 25 league goals and like 15 assists or something. But I think that you might even need more than that to drag this Barcelona team up into the kind of title contending region of the table. So yeah, Barcelona, what a mess. Well, before we end the show, thank you very much.